everyone, welcome to Kabbalah and Me. I'm thrilled to be talking about conquering perfectionism. If you are like most people in this world, with me included, and that sometimes has a perfectionistic edge, you know how difficult life could be because ultimately we cannot control the outcomes of everything in our life the way the perfectionist would like to have it. So how do we, on the one hand, live an ideal, motivated type of a life with high standards, while on the other hand, be realistic about it and do all that with joy and contentment? So to do that, I put together 4 big ideas, and we're going to jump right in. So idea number 1, Jacob versus Esau. So that the biblical, those 2 biblical personalities, we've got Jacob and we've got Esau, and of course they were twins that came out of Rebekah's stomach, that they really personify the difference between the perfectionist and the idealist. And on the one hand, Esav is this child that's born all perfect, and he's born with Esau from the word asui. He's already made up. He already has long hair. He has like hair coming out of his chest. He's got like a big, robust figure. He just comes right out and he just does things, etc., etc. He's a hunter. While Jacob is sitting in the tents and he's bald, and it takes him time to grow and to warm up, etc., etc. So these 2 personalities are what essentially, we've got these 2 types of personalities in the world. We've got a type of a personality that is asui, that he just thinks, or she just thinks, that they could control all outcomes. They could just have everything in their way, the way they want it to be. And that personality of Esav is a very negative personality. It's a personality that is harmful to others and to himself, not a very happy type of a personality, while Jacob is not perfect. And he comes from the word Yaakov, Jacob, from the word Yud Akev. He comes from the word heel, but he's connected to the Yud. The Yud on top is the letter of Chochmah that Kabbalah speaks about. So we've got the Yud is that letter of wisdom, while Akev is the heel. So while Jacob is on the level of a heel, but he's constantly working, he's striving towards that goal that's somewhere over there in the horizon, step after step after step. And we're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. But to understand these 2 personalities is to understand really the difference between perfectionist type of people and people that are more ideal, that they're optimalists, that they're working towards something. So we want to be like Jacob. We want to be working towards a goal and not to expect that we're going to just have that goal and or else, or nothing else happens, and that goal is just going to come right at us. And this also really teaches us that a very simple point and very obvious point, that nobody is perfect, and to just kind of like get that out of our minds, because the perfectionists, those perfectionists among us, kind of think that they're going to be the first perfect human being on this planet. And there aren't any perfect human beings, not even Jacob, not even Moses, not even Adam, who was the first man. And not King David, who actually teaches us that really that falling and making mistakes is part of the human condition, and to kind of like accept it, to accept that, right, is our job as perfectionists, to accept that we are not perfect, that we are striving towards something, that we're going from below to above. We've got our high visions, our high standards. It's our yuds, but we need to do them slowly. And that brings us to the second big idea, the Beinoni. The Beinoni is an idea which the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shner Zalman of Liadi, spells out in the book of Tanya, in the monumental book of Tanya, where he kind of, in that small book, not such a small book, but he puts it, he really explains in that book, calls it the Sefer Shel Beinonim, in one of the sections of Tanya, the major section of Tanya, called the Book of Beinonim. And what Beinoni really means is an intermediary. And what is this intermediary? So the Alter Rebbe explains that we essentially have tzaddikim. Tzaddikim are are holy individuals, righteous individuals that are very, very far in between, that there are very few in the world. And they're born with just high-level souls that struggle on a totally different level. And there's tzaddikim, and then there's beinonim, and then there's people that are in between. And they have a choice of either striving, like we said before, going up there, kind of working on themselves, or slipping below and being what is called rishaim, and being on the level of the wicked ones, the negative ones, and going into negative sort of action and egocentric type of action, which takes the person away from their ideal highest self. So the Beinoni, the Alter Rebbe, paints this individual as really as everyone's lot. This is our lot, the Beinoni. And he basically explains that the Beinoni struggles with wanting to slip into the negativity, and constantly has those thoughts and desires. And really, the reason for that is that is his makeup. And the Alter Rebbe reiterates this in various chapters, chapter 12, chapter 27, and so on. He explains that one of the reasons why, for depression, for sadness, he explains, is that the Beinoni doesn't realize that the struggles that they are going through is for their own best interest. That they are, and essentially that they are meant to go through these struggles. Because without these struggles, they would be tzaddikim. And they're not tzaddikim, they're beinonim. So when a person is delusional and thinks that they are tzaddikim, that they are righteous individuals, that they are perfect individuals, they will be that first perfect person, or they are a heightened level of a soul, right? And they are not realistic with really who they are, that they've got a godly soul and an animal soul, which is very, very strong. Both of them are very strong. And when a person does not acknowledge that, so then that brings a person to depression, to sadness. But once a person accepts that, so then a person could go on and just kind of like accept the struggle and kind of like be happy with the struggle and say, okay, here it comes. There's another struggle, and I know I'm going to be tested over there. Test is going to come. I know that life is just going to be full of tests, and it's not going to be test free. It's not going to be a perfect type of life, which is the perfectionist type of a mind frame, to have everything's going to be perfect. I'm never going to struggle again. The Beinoni is that guy or girl that is saying, bring it on. That's saying, like, I'm going to do push-ups, I'm ready for that struggle, and it's just part of my life. It's just part of my conditioning, right? And the way I react to the struggle inside of me is the most important thing, because the reaction in my mind and in my heart makes me better and helps me pass that struggle and allows me to go to the next step, right? Which brings us to the next big idea: you don't have to complete the job. And this is brought down in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our father. Rabbi Tarfon says, Lo alecha melacha ligmor ve'ein ata ben chorin libatel mimena. You don't have to complete the job, but you can't be lazy in not doing the job at all. And that refers to the job of our lives, of what we need to do in our lives. We have to view our big life mission, our life purpose, as a work in progress. It's not something that we could just complete and figure, oh, I'm just going to take this on, I'm just going to do it all, and I'm just going to complete reading this entire Talmud, I'm going to complete learning this whole subject, I'm going to complete doing this whole project, and just do it all at once. So, of course, you're setting yourself up for disaster. You're setting yourself up for a lot of difficulty, because it's going to be tough and you're not going to be able to do all that. But if you look at things as, I don't have to complete the job, but I have to go in, I have to clock in. They say that 80% of success is just showing up. And it's totally true. Just showing up, making sure that this is what you want to do. You're aiming to learn this whole subject, so show up every day. And they say do things in 3D. What's 3D? 3D is to define what you want to do, to divide what you want to do, divide it, and then do it daily. Don't do it all at once and take it all on, but do it every single day and be consistent with it. And look at yourself as almost like a day worker. We're taken on as a day worker. We don't have to just, we don't have to just do it by job. We have to do it by day, and we have to make sure that we're doing our best by day. And when that perfectionist within us kind of like comes out and says, oh, I got to finish it all. So the idealist, the Jacob within us needs to give the other perspective and say, that's nice of you to say that, but I just need to show up. I need to do this job as best as I can. And that's it. That's all that's required of me. And that brings us to incremental growth and really slash joy and celebrating the incremental growth, because incremental growth is not something that most people like to celebrate. They like to celebrate like the big things. The big deals are like, wow, someone celebrates a major graduation or a big like anniversary or marriage or whatever. But those small growths that I was just tested in a certain way, whereas in the past I did not pass it, but now I did. So that feels awesome because I now made the right decision, and I was more of a Jacob, and I realized that I didn't have to be completely perfect at everything. I just took on this one thing, and I put a little check mark on that one thing that I needed to work on, and I did it, and I passed, and the next thing I also passed, and I also check, or this one I failed, and I went down one step. Fine. But then I go up again. So all those small growths, to look at things, to look at our life journey as small steps, small process, like baby steps, and to celebrate those baby steps. So when you were a baby, maybe you didn't celebrate, but your parents celebrated those first couple of steps. And for the first month or so, every step you were just like hovered, everybody looked at you and like, wow, amazing, that little step is incredible. So it's like that no matter what age you are, those small steps are really special, and they're really special in God's eyes. And there's a beautiful teaching about the meal of Melava Malka. Melava Malka is after the Shabbat meals. There's 3 major meals that we eat on Saturday on Shabbat. There's a 4th meal, and it says that 4th meal is, well, a person is already totally full from eating 3 meals over Shabbat. So now, what's the 4th meal all about? 4th meal is celebrating taking out Shabbat, and it's explained that the significance of that meal is like essentially making that gesture of wanting to go to the next step, of wanting to not just do what's required of me, but going to the next step and taking a small sort of a step, but in God's eyes, and what it really celebrates, and it's called King David's meal, and what is really celebrated by that is that the small gesture of a person, that everything that they do is so precious in God's eyes. And that's something that we should bear in mind, that the small steps, that the small advancements that we do, right? The step-by-step motion that we have in our personal lives, in our collective lives, that Jacob has done throughout history of trying to go and to become a little bit better, is extremely special and precious in God's eyes. So let's keep that in mind. And I hope you enjoyed, and which big ideas really popped out at you. Think about it, meditate on it. And I hope you have a great day and live your ideal life and live it in the most joyous way and in the moment. Wishing you many blessings.